Hi everyone, and welcome to the iBwave webinar on how to design and maintain more reliable Wi-Fi networks in the enterprise using our iBwave Wi-Fi suite of products. My name is Kelly. There I am there on the screen. I work here at iBwave in the product marketing, and I'm joined by my colleagues Marc-Antoine and Amna, who are here to help out during the question and answer phase, especially if you have more technical questions that go above my head. Sorry, I'm just having a, there we go. For the webinar today, I'm going to try and keep it pretty quick and to the point, and I'm really just going to go over three things. First, I'm going to briefly look at a few of the high-level issues that really explains why we do what we do here at iBwave and why we have the Wi-Fi network design solution that we do. Then I'm going to quickly introduce who we are as a company, what we do, what our history is, and then I'm going to walk through a high-level overview of our Wi-Fi network design software, and I'm going to do that using the example of a hotel network redesign. And then I'm just going to quickly wrap up with a really quick case study from one of our customers, just to give you an idea of the benefits and the value that you can really get out of using the iBwave products. And then, of course, going to answer any questions that you have throughout the webinar. I suspect we'll be done in about 30 to 45 minutes. If you have to drop off early, don't worry about it. We are recording the webinar, and we're going to send it out to everyone afterwards. If you do have any questions during the webinar, feel free to write them in the question box using the GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll try to get to them at the end. So to start, I'd just like to briefly go over some of the challenges, and I do say some because I know that there can be a lot that exists today that's making it hard to provide really reliable and consistently reliable Wi-Fi networks for the enterprise. Because I think it's pretty safe to say that it's interesting and somewhat challenging times for IT professionals and network engineers responsible for the wireless networks in their places of work. So which really brings me to my first point, and that is it's a big challenge because there's so many devices out there, right, that rely on connectivity. It's one of the biggest and really one of the most obvious challenges that we have is that everything that we have these days requires a wireless network, whether that's the technologies that we use for our work every day, for our day-to-day operations, whether that's the value-add solutions that we use to please our customers, or that's the mobile devices that we ourselves carry around. I think it's pretty safe to say that we've become a largely mobile-dependent society. We all carry mobile devices on us. We all rely on wireless networks to keep us productive, and we can say that both for our professional and personal lives. So the sheer number of mobile devices out there looking to access Wi-Fi networks is really only getting higher. And just to put some high-level numbers to that, in 2015, there was about 8 billion mobile devices in the world. That was 563 million more than existed in 2014. And about half of those, 89% of those devices were responsible for the mobile data traffic, and half of that traffic was being offloaded onto Wi-Fi networks, which is a pretty high percentage when you think about it. And then when you think about how that rate is growing, it's expected to go to about 11.6 billion mobile devices by 2020. You really have to start to wonder, you know, how will our existing wireless infrastructures hold up with the added traffic, and how are we going to be able to maintain the networks that we're designing now in order to evolve along with the technology. Just to add on to that, each person today owns about 3.4 devices, which when you think about it, it's pretty easy to achieve, right? I know when I go somewhere, I usually have my laptop, I have my phone, I have my tablet. I'm not quite into the Fitbit and the watches right now, but I know lots of people are. So when you start to throw in the Internet of Things and the emerging wearables industry, pretty soon you have each person with multiple devices all trying to connect to the same access point on the same network. So what we're really faced with is everyone, you know, students at schools, employees, doctors, patients, you name it, everyone with their devices all trying to access the wireless network. And especially when you start to think about the bring your own device movement that is here in a pretty large way. You can look at any study these days and really see the proof. And the one that I was reading yesterday was saying 72% of organizations currently allow employees to bring their own devices to the workplace or are planning to do so very soon. And it's really not just, business enterprises and their employees. It's students bringing their devices to the classrooms. It's doctors and patients and staff relying on their devices at the hospitals that they work in, guests and staff bringing their devices to the hotels, and the list can really go on. So the bottom line, those 3.5 devices that we're all carrying around with us now are coming with us literally everywhere we go, and that includes the workplace. We love our apps, we love our technology, and a lot of us are really dependent on them in our daily lives. And so where does that create the problem? As probably many of you on the call know, is it creates the problem with capacity on the network, right? If we're in a room alone and we're connected to the Wi-Fi network, we can usually pretty much do whatever we want. We can watch those videos, check our email, access our social media. But since it's not often the case that we're, just us on a Wi-Fi network, then it becomes a real challenge when other people start to join us in that room. And then in the workplace, when you throw more people into a room using their devices, along with the cloud-based and wireless-dependent technologies that businesses really depend on for their day-to-day operations, you can really run into a large traffic jam, much like the one I face every night when I drive home. It can get pretty painful, right? And that's where you start to get those complaints about the Wi-Fi network. People can't access it. They're getting frustrated. I'm sure every one of us on the call has experienced a version of what we're looking at here in terms of slow Wi-Fi network. So at iBwave, we're really trying to answer the question of how can you be sure that the networks that you're designing and providing can handle the amount of traffic that's being thrown at it. Because the fact is, Wi-Fi is really no longer nice to have. It's a primary form of connectivity, and it's an expected utility. People want it when they're visiting your hotels, when they're going through your airports, when they're in the hospitals, and students in the education system. Basically, everywhere we go, we expect to have a good Wi-Fi connection that allows us to use all 3.5 of those mobile devices that we carry around and all of the apps and data that comes with it. So that can really be a large strain on the network, and it can be a large stress on the IT team responsible for really maintaining that network. Just to give a few more numbers around the expectations for good Wi-Fi, in a study done by Hotel Chatter, they said that 94% of people say that Wi-Fi is an amenity that they look at most when they're selecting and rating a hotel. That's a pretty significant number of people that consider Wi-Fi a must-have when selecting a hotel. If we look at the education system, in a recent study by PBS, 69% of teachers say that technology allows them to do more than ever for their students. And I know there's a large effort underway to equip schools and the education system with better wireless networks, because it motivates the student more, it provides them with more personalized learning programs, and it really enables them to be more productive in the classroom and to learn more. When we look at wireless networks in the enterprise alone, there's a massive shift to cloud-based solutions and a large dependency on wireless connectivity for day-to-day operations. It enables things like more mobility and collaboration, better responsiveness. It allows you to provide value-added services to your customers. And the list can really go on about why businesses are moving to a more wireless infrastructure. But at the end of the day, the result of that movement is that there is a large need for reliable wireless networks that need to work 100% of the time in order to maximize productivity. And this is really whether we're talking about enterprise businesses, hotels, banks, airports, I mean, you name it, right? And then there's the third issue, and that is once you get those really stable Wi-Fi networks in place, how can you easily be prepared to upgrade in the future? The fact is our technology is evolving very quickly. So because we have a Wi-Fi network that can handle all of the traffic today, doesn't mean that that same network is going to be able to handle the traffic a year or two from now, especially with that high rate of bring your own devices to the workplace. There's more and more traffic coming. And how do you know what the business case looks like to upgrade or not? How do you know how much it's going to cost? If you're a large enterprise with many different sites, I think one of our customers has over 90 sites that they manage. How are you able to kind of get an overview of what needs to be upgraded and how to best do that in the most cost-efficient way? So those are really the issues that we try to solve with the software that we provide here at iBwave. Some of you on the webinar may know us, but many of you might not at this point. So just to give you a short introduction, we've been around the wireless world for quite a while, almost 14 years. And what we like to say is that we help to keep the world connected, every venue and every technology type. To give you a history of how we've evolved, we started back in 2003 when operators were mostly using spreadsheets in order to deploy a lot of the indoor DAS cellular networks. Our software is now used by a majority of the operators around the world in order to design those DAS networks. We've evolved over the years, and in 2015, while we've always done Wi-Fi, we decided to carve out the Wi-Fi capabilities only and enhance it. And that's really what we're here to discuss today, is our software for designing Wi-Fi networks. To give you some examples, our software is behind some of the larger indoor networks in the world. So for example, our software was used to design the network for the London Olympic Village. And it was actually also used most recently to design the Wi-Fi for the Copacabana Beach Stadium at the Rio Olympics. So some pretty high-profile projects and used all around the world. Some more typical venues are hotels, shopping malls, office buildings, subways, airports. A little bit of a trend here in that we pretty much cover anything that is indoor. I think we've even done cruise ship designs before. So that's just an introduction of who we are, and now I'm going to get into and focus on the iBwave Wi-Fi Suite, which is our professional Wi-Fi network survey and design tool for enterprise IT teams. You can see from the picture that it's really comprised of two parts. It has a PC version and it has a mobile app for Android. In between the two, we have a cloud. So with the software comes 10 gigabytes of cloud storage, which really enables collaboration and easy file sharing between teams, so you can work remotely, you can work well with your project partners, and sharing files and accessing information is easy to do through the cloud. We say that our software really empowers IT teams to design reliable Wi-Fi networks that everyone can rely on. Some of the key differentiators for our software versus maybe some of the others on the market and what we're really recognized for is the focus on end-to-end productivity. We really focus on streamlining the design, the site survey, right through to the design and the maintenance of Wi-Fi networks. We allow you to actually design and document your entire network. So we go beyond just being able to design the network from an AP placement perspective. You can actually route all of your cabling. You can place your routers, your switches, your connectors. So we really cover both the wireless and the wireline side of your network. We make it easy to plan for that capacity that we were talking about earlier. Especially in this day and age, it's becoming really key to be able to design your networks and know what traffic they can handle and where they can handle it in the venue. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit. We have advanced 3D modeling, so you can import your AutoCAD floor plans or an image or a PDF. And you'll see here in a little bit just how detailed you can be with our 3D modeling. We're really well known for the accuracy of our predictions and our propagation engine. which really is going to save you time post-installation. It cuts down on the cost for troubleshooting. And then we also have a site management platform. So while we have the basic cloud, we also have a product called iBwave Unity, which allows enterprises with many different sites to manage all of their sites from one single location to keep everything synchronized. So at this point, I'm just going to walk through at a very high level the entire solution from the mobile app through the cloud and through the PC version, and I'm going to do that using the example of a hotel Wi-Fi network. So let's say that you're the IT team or you're the network engineer, the system integrator that's working on a hotel Wi-Fi network design. There's been a lot of complaints in the hotel, so it's time to take a look at the network. The first thing you can do is you can arm your IT team or your field technician with just the mobile app. So while you can take the PC to the site with you, all you really need in order to do a site survey is the mobile app, iBwave Wi-Fi Mobile. You load it onto your Android device, and then you can essentially do everything that you need to do during a site survey. So for example, you can use the mobile app to do both active and passive surveys to assess the performance and the signal strength of the existing environment and the existing network. You can capture all of your site documentation using the tablet camera itself. So let's say you're doing your site survey and you want to capture where an AP should be placed, or maybe in the case of a hotel you want to capture where it should not be placed for aesthetic reasons. You can simply add a push pin onto your floor plan. It turns the mobile app into a camera, and then you can snap a picture, and then you can add all of your notes, either your text notes, or you can draw on it to annotate the image. Maybe you want to draw in your cabling route on the image. And then once you do that, you simply press save, and you see those little push pins on the floor plan, and those push pins, when you click on them, will open that image and all of your notes back up, and that stays on the floor plan. And that eliminates all of that time that you would spend if you took your pictures with a separate camera and you took your notes maybe in a Word document, and at the end you started to compile it all together to make a report. There's no need to do that anymore. You simply can document it all on the mobile app, and it's in one place. It's really great as well when you're in the future, when you go to upgrade the network or you want to review the network. You don't have to go back and retake pictures. All of your documentation is right there on the floor plan. On the mobile app, you can also plan for capacity. So you can actually identify the different capacity zones right there on the floor plan. So in this example here, we're in a hotel. I want to identify where there's a conference room. I can say, the number of clients I expect to be in there. I can identify the percentage of the network I think will be Wi-Fi versus cellular, and then I can just save that zone, and the prediction engine is going to take that into consideration later on, so you can simply see if your capacity is a pass or fail according to the network design. With the mobile app, you also have the option to actually just design your network right there on the spot. So you can do automatic AP placement, or you can manually drag and drop APs onto the floor plan. You can add your network equipment, so you can add your switchers and your controllers right there as you walk the site. And then as a result of that, you can actually run your prediction right there on the spot and view your heat maps. So you can quickly see capacity in this example on the screen. You have two areas there that are going to fail from capacity, and the green ones are a pass. You can also see your other heat maps, your RSSI, your throughput, your signal to noise ratio, your overlap zones. And all of that is just on the mobile app. Some customers just use this for really simple designs, and many use it just to start and do a preliminary design that they can then continue to work on the PC. So once the site survey is done, you just have to save all of that information to the cloud. So everything goes in one file. That's all of your survey measurements. That's all of your site images and your notes that are saved to those push pins. That's your APs and your network equipment, and as well as your prediction. It all goes to the cloud. where somebody else in the office, or maybe in a different city, or maybe you're working with a project partner who's helping you with the design, they can open up the design just as you did it in the mobile app, and they can continue to work on it. So you can see the little push pins on the floor plan there. If they click on those, they're going to get all of your notes and all of the images right there for them to reference when they go to finalize the design. So I'm just going to run through some of the key features of the PC version. So we opened up the hotel design that we got from the site survey, and one of the things you can do is model the venue in 3D and start to assign your wall materials. So you can import the floor plan using your AutoCAD file. You can do this with any image file, or you can do this with a PDF, and you can model your venue in 3D. You can, as I mentioned before, design the entire network. So currently we have a database of, I believe it's about 23,000 network components, vendor models, that you have to choose from when you're modeling your network. So you can select the APs that you want to design with. You can route all of your cabling. You can place your switches, your routers, your controllers. All of your network equipment can literally be designed in the PC version. What that allows you to do, and that really helps out, is on the reporting side. There we go. So the key reports that you can generate, because you have all of that network designed, is your bill of materials. You now have a complete bill of materials. You have all of your cabling, you have all of the APs you need, you have the number of switchers and routers. You can also assign all the pricing to those parts, so you know a very good estimate of what the network or the network upgrade is going to cost you. In the software, it automatically calculates the cabling measurements for you, so it gives you an estimate of how much cabling you're going to need. You can assign the pricing per meter, and you start to get a really good understanding of just how much of the network design is going to cost you. And then we have reports that really help you collaborate with the installation team. So you can hand them a cable routing report, for example, so they know exactly how to route the cable when they go there on site. You can give them an annotations report, which is a nicely formatted report of all those images and notes that you took while you were doing your site survey. In the PC, you can also define the capacity zones. So here, looking at, again, a hotel, you can identify where the conference rooms are. You know, if this is a school, you could identify where the cafeteria was. You can identify the classroom capacity requirements. And basically, it'll take those capacity requirements, and when you run your prediction, it's going to tell you whether or not you have enough APs, you have the right design in order to provide the proper coverage for that area. And that brings me to my next point. We're really well known for the accuracy of our prediction. There's two different ways that you can really run prediction in the software. The first one is VLPE, and that's really the quickest way to do it. In this version, you don't have to model the wall. You can just identify density zones on your floor plan, and then you run your prediction, and it's going to give you a good idea of how the network is going to perform. If you want a really accurate prediction, then you go ahead and you model your walls. You can assign the different materials to your walls. You can assign signal loss for both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. And then you run your prediction. You can also calibrate the prediction. Because we often don't know what's necessarily behind the walls at the venue, and it can really impact the signal strength, then you can go and take an AP on a stick and you can get a live measurement reading, and then you can import that and you can actually calibrate the prediction, so it's using real live data. And the result of that is a really accurate prediction and a really good idea of how your network is going to perform once it's actually installed. The benefit for you is really that can significantly cut down on the costs associated to any troubleshooting post-installation. You can do your heat maps, and you can view them all in 3D. So right now we're looking at a capacity or pass or fail. It's a simple green for pass and a red to say fail. You can look at an average data throughput per user heat map, which is really great because this is essentially your user experience, right? You can look at your venue in 3D. You can identify what your users' data throughput will be anywhere they are in your venue. And then you can see others like your CCI, best channel, then we have SNR, maximum data rate, and I think there's a couple others as well. Now, once you've done the final design in the PC, you can, again, save all of that information back to the cloud, and you can have an you're a member of your IT team, or if you're a field technician, they simply just have to open it up, back up on the mobile app, and they have access to the design that you just did, and they can go and do a validation walk. So they can do that active survey, and they can make sure the network is performing as you designed it to. If there's minor tweaks that need to be made, they have the design and they have the notes right there on the mobile app in front of them. That also is very valuable when it comes to maintaining those networks, right? That was one of the things we discussed in the beginning is the Wi-Fi may work great right now, but we need the ability in order to maintain and upgrade them going forward. So that documentation sits in the cloud. Whenever you need to access it, maybe a year from now you want to do another site survey, all you have to do is open up the project, and you have the floor plan, the design right there in front of you as you walk the site. Maybe you want to add an AP, or you want to move the location of IP to see how it's going to perform, and you can do that using the mobile app. So at the end of the day, the results of really using the Wi-Fi solution, the mobile app, the cloud, the PC, is what our customers have experienced are faster deployments, accurate performance predictions, which results in no troubleshooting post-installation. You have all your network documentation in a single place, and that gives you really an easy way to maintain and upgrade all of your networks in the future. We also, because we come from the cellular side, we have other products, for example, a small cells product. So if in the future small cells is something you want to add to your hotel or to your school or to your enterprise, you can use the same floor plan, and all you have to do is open it up in the small cells. It's actually a mobile app as well, and you can also design the small cells network. So it gives you a really nice path in order to upgrade to different technologies in the future. And perhaps most importantly, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you know exactly what kind of a Wi-Fi experience you're providing, to your customers, to your employees, to everyone dependent on the Wi-Fi network. And then I'm just quickly going to take a few minutes just to tell you about a case study from one of our existing customers. They did a redesign of a convention center using iBwave Wi-Fi PC as well as the mobile. And essentially, there was an existing network there. It wasn't working, so they were giving some performance KPIs that they had to meet. The challenges that they really faced is they wanted to be able to optimize the design. They had a budget to work in. Sometimes there's a risk of over-designing a network, which can get pretty costly. You're putting in too many APs where you don't need to. You're adding too much equipment where you don't need to. So they really wanted to be able to optimize the design. They wanted to be able to save time with the site survey, and they also wanted to make sure that the network they designed and proposed was going to perform as they predicted. What they did and how they used the solution is they very quickly, before going to site, they imported their AutoCAD file into the PC. They modeled the venue walls, and then they just saved that to the cloud, where one of their field technicians opened up the project on the mobile app. They did an active survey. They went through the convention center and they captured the site images and they made their notes and annotations. They started to place access points on the floor plan, and then they ran their predictions on the spot to get an idea of how the network would perform. And they even generated a bill of materials right from the mobile app right there on site. They then saved that to the cloud, where the engineer back at the office was able to pick up the design that they proposed. They routed the cabling, They got the estimated cable length measurements, they placed the routers and all the other network equipment. They calibrated the prediction using the survey data that they collected on site to make it really accurate. And then they simply generated a complete bill of materials and handed it to the customer so they knew exactly what they needed in order to upgrade the network. The results for them, they used 6 access points less than was estimated originally, so that was a good cost savings for the client. They took about half the time that they would usually take to design the Wi-Fi network at a convention center. They said it was, it took about 2.5 days to do everything. And perhaps most importantly is that there was the performance KPIs were met 100%, and the customer was happy and the network performed as it needed to. And that's it for my presentation today. You can try it out free if you go to the iBwave website. You just have to go under the Wi-Fi product, and there's a link there. Fill out a form, and we'll get you a free trial. But right now, I just wanted to move on to any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. And we do have some questions. The first one I see is that what is the propagation model used for Wi-Fi and capacity analysis? MU, MIMO, beamforming for 802.11 AC data rate analysis. I guess Marc-Antoine can take that question.
Okay, so I'll repeat the first question. It seems like the voice from Amna was not loud enough. So the first question is, what is the propagation model used for Wi-Fi and capacity analysis? What about MU, MIMO, beamforming for 802.11 AC data rate analysis? So there's a few questions in this. So I'll start with the first one about the propagation model. So as Kelly mentioned during the presentation, there's actually 2 propagation models that we use as part of the software. The first one is a simplified version to allow quick design, so it's called VPLE, and it's simply based on zones of density of environment. So you can define zones from open space to very dense environment, and you can redefine specific zones to give more accuracy. But then when you do your design, it's going to provide results very quickly, and the benefit is that you don't need to spend a lot of time modeling a building in 3D. So that's available on the mobile product and the PC version. The other propagation model we use is called FRT. So that's an in-house propagation algorithm that we've built and successfully used to model hundreds of thousands of venues on the wireless cellular side. So this one is much more sophisticated. It requires that you model the environment precisely with wall surfaces, inclined surfaces in the case of more complex type of environment. But you end up with a very precise modeling of the environment, and the accuracy goes higher when you use that. And the FRT also allows calibration using on-site measurements to increase even more the accuracy. So using that one, you are looking at about less than 5 dB difference from live measurements and the modeling that you get. So that's the first question. Second one is about MU MIMO or multiple user MIMO. So at the moment, we don't model that in the tool. So we do support MIMO. We model MIMO in a traditional way. So if you are using MIMO 2x2, 3x3, or 4x4, we will showcase the impact on the throughput and also on the capacity. So this is supported. The next question is about beamforming for 802.11 AC. So this is also a technology that is not supported. Beamforming is basically to dynamically adjust the pattern of the AP based on the traffic that you get and so on. So it's more of an optimization, on-site optimization algorithm that allows to increase even more the accuracy, but from a planning perspective, we don't model the beamforming. So that's it.
So the next question is, if I want to work with someone on a file but don't want them to have a license, how can they do it? Is it possible?
Okay. If you want someone to work on a file, if you want to edit the design, for example, and modify it, you would need a license, obviously. But if you just want to look at a file in more details, look at the prediction results, look at how the model is modeled, and also just run the reports that comes with the software, this is all possible using a free viewer that's available to everyone. So if you have an iBwave file, you can use the free viewer, open it, view all the details, review the KPIs to make sure that it meets your requirements, and you can run all the reports, print them if you need. All of that is available from the viewer.
The next question is concerning the pricing.
I can take that one. Yeah, the price point is, it comes in two different. You can get just the mobile app, and I believe that's around $1,200 US, or you can buy the iBwave mobile app plus the 10 gigabytes of cloud plus the PC version, and I believe that's just around $5,000 US, and that all includes your first year of support and is a perpetual license. So the only cost past your first year would really be the cost for your annual maintenance and support.
We also have a question. Is there a PC and Mac version available for this?
So the answer is no for the moment. We do not have a Mac version of the software, and it's not planned short term. But anyhow, we do support bootcamp installation or virtual machine installation. So that's available, and a lot of people are using that kind of installation.
Another question: can you customize the reports to allow for logos and other?
Yes, this is possible to a certain limit, but yes, you can customize the different reports that we have and change logos, and sometimes just adjust the columns that and the information that you see in it. So yes, this is possible.
Another question: do you give away trials?
Yes, just go to iBwave.com. If you go to the Wi-Fi product section, there's some big red buttons there that say get your free trial. Click on that, fill out a form, and we'll get it to you.
And then we have just one more other question. Can you also do surveys through the laptop?
Yes, absolutely. So you can do active and passive surveys using the PC version, and you can do both of them at the same time. That's part of the software, so that can be used to run your surveys and calibrate your prediction model and validate your installation. So yes.
Right. Great. So that concludes our questions and also concludes the webinar for today. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoy what you saw. If you have any questions, please get in contact with us. And as I mentioned, we will be sending out a recording of the webinar. So thanks very much and have a great day.